That's a liberal.
It's like saying, would you rather have wine or water?
Wine, a half inch, means a lot sometimes.
Nobody likes to eat crow. Right.
Now I'm starving.
How much is the economy today? It's that much.
Pumpkin latte sucked, and I want to speak to your manager.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks? Get out of here. His name is pronounced Joni. And that's the end of it.
Hello, honey.
Hello, Mama.
How are you today?
I'm good. This is my grandma.
Ah, you see her already? Okay, that's good. Let's see who's with us. I know I saw Beer Nut on early. How are you, Beer Nut?
This has to come off. You say hello to everybody. I'm dying of heat.
Okay. Francine, how are you, Francine? Oh, good. Well, we can send you a little notification if you want. That little bell, it'll tell you that it's Tuesday and we're on. Oh, it's a lot of noise back there. And here's my mother. How are you, Mom? And here's McForty. How are you? Wow, it's quiet here tonight. Well, hopefully people are just getting in, catching up. So why don't I start you off with a cute little joke? This one I think is appropriate for the times that we're in.
An old Italian gentleman lived alone in New Jersey. He wanted to plant his annual tomato garden, but it was very difficult work as the ground was hard. His only son, Vincent, who used to help him, was in prison. The old man wrote a letter to his son, described his predicament. Dear Vincent, I'm feeling pretty sad because it looks like I won't be able to plant my tomato garden this year. I'm just getting too old to be digging up a garden plot. I know if you were here, my troubles would be over. I know you'd be happy to dig the plot for me, like in the old days. Love, Papa. A few days later, he received a letter from his son. Dear Papa, don't dig up that garden. That's where the bodies are buried. Love, Vinny. At 4 a.m. the next morning, FBI agents, local police arrived. They dug up the entire area without finding any bodies. They apologized to the old man and left. That same day, the old man received another letter from his son. Dear Papa, go ahead and plant the tomatoes now. That's the best I could do under the circumstances. Love you, Vinny.
Oh, my God.
That was funny.
It was. You sent it to me. You sent me a bunch of stuff.
I didn't send you that.
You didn't?
No.
I thought it was in your... Well, then I did that on my own.
You found it on your own.
I did. Well, welcome to Right Stuff, everybody. I hope you got a little chuckle out of that. I mean, law enforcement knows how to dig up a garden plot, at least. I'm Letitia. That's Jen. And you've hit Right Stuff. So if you're watching us on X, please re-exit. I don't know what it's called.
Retweet it.
Is it retweeted, even though it's X now? I'm so confused.
Nobody calls it X but you. It's Twitter.
Well, it says X all over the place.
You and Elon Musk. You're the only two.
Oh, well, I don't know. Let's see. Denise, how are you, Denise Ballard? Thank you for joining. Good to have you here. And our OG is with us, Lucille Chavone. Yeah, rain, go away. Well, it's black outside by me. So if I suddenly get cut off, you know that's
racist.
It's very dark outside.
It's still racist.
Crap. There's no sun outside.
It's not light outside.
No, the blue skies are no longer. Hello, Angela Ricca. How are you? Okay, Howard Zim is with us. How are you, Howard? And Debbie, how are you? Our in-house comedian. Good to have you with us. Excuse me, both Jennifer and I have a cold, even though we were next to each other. So go figure. We're infecting each other through the screen, I guess. So everybody drink heavily to anesthetize yourselves. Francine. Oh yeah, good one. Yeah, I thought that was cute. What are we saving? What are we saving? Well, democracy, the republic, the constitutional
Not
republic.
according to Tim Waltz.
Yeah, well, that's true. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Hiya, Ralph. How are you? And how are you, Billy Nolan? All right, so we have a lot of videos today and not a lot of viewers. So that's interesting, but that's okay. We carry on. No matter if it's 1 or 1,000, we carry on.
Well, it's
All
never
right,
1,000.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, we should get those things.
Oh, what are we saving? Save Ferris.
Save?
They're asking what my shirt says. Save what? What are we
Oh,
saving?
save Ferris. Oh. Of course. Of course Howard Zinn would be looking there. All right, well, Chaz Parliamentary had something to say about what went down with the Trump assassination attempt. Watch.
I mean, if this don't smell like a conspiracy, I don't know what does, folks. Now, why would a 20-year-old, who you can see walks around with his head up his ass, know or need 3 cryptic accounts? 3 encrypted accounts on his phone. 2 hours before they saw him, they said he was suspicious. Okay, doesn't somebody suspicious at least deserve, hey, guy, how you doing? What's your name? What are you doing around here? And then you go, well, he's got a rangefinder. Well, how about a suspicious kid with a rangefinder? Doesn't that deserve, how'd you get here? Where you from? What's going on? I don't know what's going on here, folks. I used to see things happening in these third world countries, Yemen, and Haiti, God knows where, with all kinds of shit going on. And now I'm starting to wonder, well, we got the same thing. The only difference with us is it's a little more dressed up. I mean, if this stuff...
Yes.
That's your buddy.
I know. I sent that to you.
I know. Have you spoken to him?
No, I saw him a couple months ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that it's amazing that it's out of the news. You can't, somebody sent me their Google screen where they were looking for the photo of him with the assassination attempt, and Google said that they couldn't show it to him. It's really crazy. It's crazy what's happening out there. Just crazy. Bob McKenna, how the heck are you? Good to see you, Bob. Thanks for joining us. Gloria's with us. Was sick for 3 days and just feeling, so something's going around. I hope you didn't catch it here on the show. Apparently we're passing stuff around. We're all asking the same question. This was a hit job, and they arrested a Pakistani national who was going to assassinate a government official. They didn't say which government official, but I'm going to guess maybe Trump. But that's how the news is reporting it, or that's how the CIA is reporting it. That he, the Pakistani national, was caught with plans to assassinate a government official. We don't know who, and they didn't tie it to the Trump assassination. Hello, Professor. How are you? Saline treats all ills. This is true. This is true. So does tequila. Okay. So we have a new Democrat vice president candidate. Did you see, Jen?
I did. So full of shit.
Well, they're fawning over him. All right. First of all, right now there are 10,000 young people in Philadelphia in an arena for this grand rally that Kamala and Walz are having. Interestingly, she's the presidential candidate, but he spoke after her. I've never seen that happen before. And you can
not even when it's an acceptance speech to run.
No, because it's always the hierarchy. So somebody else should have like it would have been smart for Josh Shapiro to introduce Walz, and then Walz would speak and then introduce Kamala. But instead they came out together Walls and Kamala, and they looked astonished that there were so many people there chanting. And I was astonished as well until I figured it out. These are probably the Antifa kids or the Eric Garland kids or the whoever. Pick your pro-Palestine kids. They're probably paid by Soros to be there, or Soros's groups. But anyway, they were flabbergasted. They could barely speak. They were so gobsmacked that there were so many people chanting their names. It's worth watching. See if you can find it. Cigar smoke stops the spread of corona. Meh. There's some people that say that marijuana too. Tim Walz had a tattletale phone line to report people who weren't staying in their house during COVID. Yes, somebody said he was the white male. He was the male Karen with a pot belly.
Meanwhile, he went on in his speech to say how Donald Trump wants to tell people what to do with their body, their rights. You told people they had to get vaccinated.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they couldn't work. You took their jobs away. You made us give our personal information to go and to eat in a restaurant.
Exactly. All foreign countries want Trump gone because he doesn't take no shit. You're right about that. Did you see the New York Post story about this guy? I did, Lenny. I did. And thank you for being here tonight, Lenny. It was pretty good. Let me play a clip. It's a small clip. It's from White Dudes for Kamala, and he happened to be there. But listen to what he says. I mean, it's literally a short clip.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
What?
Socialism is just neighborliness. Like the illegal migrants are just our friends waiting to be made. Our new neighbors.
Yeah, they're my new neighbors. They're on every corner now. When you come out of my apartment complex, and they all have a sign that says "Save Baby Matthias." He needs money for this. Some cockamamie cancer I'd never even heard of. But first off, you get free healthcare.
Right.
You don't need money.
Right.
Your baby couldn't be taken care of before my baby would. So they have their posters. He had buckets full of money, with the picture of baby Matthias, who's probably still in Venezuela, his little bow tie.
You're right.
And this is what they did. So they were selling fruit for about 3 months, and I think they gave up on that. So now they have baby Matthias. They concocted a baby with cancer, and that's the new one. So,
well, this is, and this guy Walz, has given all the people, all the illegal migrants who he's welcomed to his state, driver's licenses and work permits, and he wants to give them the right to vote. So this is our new vice presidential candidate. And meanwhile, Kamala isn't answering one question, isn't speaking about anything that's policy, is running away from the border. It's really an interesting time that we live in. Why would someone ruin their career by being VP to the hyena? I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that was the elite's choice, was him. And because Biden, put their back against the wall by endorsing him on their way out, they just flip-flopped. They just said, all right, we'll keep her and, we'll cut the deal with her and we'll make him VP and he'll really run the show. So tell me if you think I'm wrong. I don't
see his corny humor. You see what I did there? As he's speaking, he's like a creepy old uncle.
Like Uncle Joe in the basement?
Yeah.
Joe Biden minus 2.0. How much are they paying people to attend? Well, we know that they took homeless people in Georgia to put them in the arena when she had the rally in Georgia. David Hogg kids. Okay. Dollars and percents. Okay. Kamala can barely speak, period. Yeah, well, she's going to have to say something sometime. Again, the problem is parenting. These young people have no respect, no clue of life, spoiled. And yeah, absolutely. But, who's going to admit it's their kid, right? It's always somebody else's kid. Hello, Maria Lupo. How are you? Okay. We can worry on. What's a smidge? Smidge.
I don't know. Come on.
Keep going. Jen, your mic is good. What are you using? Oh, okay. They can hear you finally. What are you using for your mic?
I'm not. It's the same thing I have on every week.
Earbuds.
Yeah.
Finally, yeah. Progressive is an oxymoron term. Just moron. He admitted he was a socialist. Yeah, he did. He did. And it's not the first time. So think about that. We're going to have a socialist as VP. They're trying to spin him as a moderate, middle of the road, but they can't because everything he has said and done has shown him to be, left. So Nancy Pelosi tried to say, oh, that's not true. He's a moderate, middle of the road guy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, I don't think there's any left in the Democrat Party. Maybe Mike McMahon, the district attorney in Staten Island, but that's about it. It's
Mike
not
Cusack.
so. Yeah, Cusack, yeah. And little to no press on Kamala's husband who cheated with Nanny and got her pregnant. Yeah, he admitted it, and it was in all of Sergeant Major. Okay, sorry about
So
that.
that's her stepdaughter?
Yes.
So she calls her the stepdaughter?
No, he has other kids, but he got the daughter's kindergarten teacher pregnant when he had an affair, when he was married to his first wife.
Oh, I thought it was Kamala. I was going to say, could you blame him?
No, yeah. Well, she's pretty. I mean, you can't say she's not pretty. She's very
Anybody
pretty.
can be pretty, but when you open your mouth, you have to listen to that for the rest of your life or wish you were deaf.
Jennifer, have you seen some of the tits and ass that's all over YouTube that are drop dead gorgeous, and they open their mouth and you want to go?
And they're
what?
not running for president of the United States.
Well, apparently it doesn't matter anymore what you say. Because the press is going to cover it up. U.S. citizens who owe New York dollars can get a driver's license. Yeah, we've given up. Government has given up. Government wants all of this chaos. They're looking for it. It's really, my mind is melting over this. In Truth Social, Trump tweeted that Biden is sorry he gave up his nomination. He was sorry the minute he did it. As a matter of fact, what magazine was it? I can't remember which magazine I just saw the cover of, and it was Kamala and Biden dressed in robes. Biden was Caesar, and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Obama, had knives in their hand. It was pretty good. They did not want a Jewish VP. The foreign country would lose it. Yeah, absolutely, Mom. That's exactly right. I thought that would have been the smartest move they could have made is to get Josh Shapiro in there. But they anti-Israel sentiment. I think the appeal of Kamala Harris is that she talked to people like they are kindergarten children, and most Democrat liberals are much smarter than kindergarten.
That's how she's used to talking to Biden, so she's just used to it.
That was good. Well, they're calling her Kamala Mamala. They want a mommy. They don't want a president. They want a mommy.
I could think of 20 more words to call her that are way better than that.
Yeah, but I don't understand what's going on with these kids. These kids have been parented to death. Their parents have been hovering over them, and they're looking for somebody else to be their parent.
No, you're opposite. They haven't. Their parents don't even want to talk to them because they hate their guts and wish they swallowed because they're a bunch of liberal retards. So no, their parents are not coddling them. They're working so that they can pay their way for their kid to march through the street for BLM and for Palestine.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. What parent? Come on, not for anything, but when you were a kid, if you did wrong or if you wanted something, remember you wanted a beeper and we wouldn't give you a beeper, and you had to go out work and
I went to go work at a beeper store.
Yeah, but that's not the way it goes now. Now the parents give them anything they want, anything,
because they want them out of their hair because they're retarded. They don't want to talk to them.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Facebook stopped him from making remarks. That bitch from Seinfeld, where did she come off that she's so rich from her family backing this hyena? What, the one who
I know
played
that she pretended to be her on the show. What do you mean? again? Elaine?
Well, no, yeah, she became the Veep, right? That was a
Yeah.
sitcom, the Veep, and Kamala apparently they were lifting lines from the Veep, and writing it into Kamala's speech. Yeah, and you know what else? I discovered the Designated Survivor on Netflix this weekend, and it's amazing how much of that has been lifted into the speeches of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's just mind blowing. Rain has stopped. Oh, okay, good. And Biden wants it back. Well, I would like to see what happens at this Democrat convention. I'm just waiting for Kamala to go, ham on walls, and like she did her staff who all quit. I want to see what happens when the honeymoon is over. Which, by the way, it's today's the name of tonight's show, Kamala's honeymoon. I could call her 20 more words, but also I'll get kicked off. That's funny. And Napoleon said, don't interrupt your adversary when they are making mistakes. Agreed. I wish Trump would just sit back and shut up. And just
He can't. He's 8. How old is he? You
70,
cannot
71,
reprogram
72.
a human being at that age. No, he's not 72. He's older than that.
76?
I think he's older.
Alexa, how old is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is 78 years old.
78?
Yes. So you can't
Alexa
reprogram
off.
78 years of his verbal nonsense, if you'll call it that. You just can't.
He doesn't know when to quit.
He has Tourette's of the mouth.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot of little clips tonight. So listen to what Jamie Raskin had to say about the 14th Amendment and also the Supreme Court. This one's going to blow your mind.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring.
So wait, first off, they put it on January 6th.
Every year, the president gets sworn in on January 6th.
I'm sorry. I thought he was talking about the Supreme Court justice for some odd reason. I zoned out.
Basically, what he's doing is he's suggesting that there needs to be an insurrection, that if Trump wins, that there should be an insurrection, that he should not be sworn in on January 6th in 2020.
And that one will be perfectly fine.
Well, and then we're going to have a whole, as he said, a whole rigmarole. And it's all because the Supreme Court justices did not, do their job. Because they upheld presidential immunity.
Okay, so I wasn't crazy. I did hear that. Okay.
Yes, you heard that. So
I was looking at his hair.
Well, he had cancer. It just grew back.
Oh.
So yeah. Martin Lee, how are you? I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're ready. I wish Trump would spend most of his time on policy, but he is up against the media, social media, internet moguls, and the federal government. But you know what, Mick 40? So what? So, Trump makes news wherever he goes. Well, right now, they're ignoring him. And he's trying to be as outrageous as he can.
No one realizes the problem. The real problem was that his father, Fred, ignored him his whole childhood. So he always had to show who he was to be accepted. So once that psychological impact in your brain and your soul takes over, you're not going to get rid of it. You're going to keep going and going and going. So we can't blame him. We need a psychologist to maybe go on air and maybe we'll get one to.
Well, Dr. Phil endorsed him. So
Dr. Phil, cash me out back. No, Dr. Phil.
Well, thank you for that psychoanalysis, Jen. See, I told you, it's the millennials. You millennials are all about that psychobabble stuff.
Well, that's why he's like that.
Well,
Well,
that
he's the
might be
mouth,
why
he's the
he's
mouth.
like that. But if you want to campaign and you want to play politics, a good friend of mine told
Oh,
me
he's wrong,
something.
totally. I say that
Yeah.
every day.
Well-
I'm just saying why he's like that, and that's why he's like that. He just didn't get hatched like that. He
Well,
definitely had to be hatched.
you can't play checkers when everybody else is playing chess.
Well, he thinks he can.
needs to get
And he did.
heard.
And he did play checkers when everyone else was playing chess.
No,
and look
no,
what
he
did.
was the media mogul. He knew how to get press. That's when the press was legit. And then they started they flipped on him with COVID, and they got together in a conspiracy and stopped covering him. So now he's got to refigure out how to get press attention. And in my opinion, he shouldn't be doing it by going after Brian Kemp and Ratzenberger. He shouldn't be going after Republicans who he needs to help him.
He should just get a sex change. Get some boobs. Caitlyn did it. It'll work. You think she missed being on that Wheatie box? Absolutely. Got a pair of tits. Look what happened.
I'm picturing him as a girl.
Be ugly. Just like Caitlyn took a while to get pretty.
Oh my God. Oh, could you imagine? Do you remember Rudy Giuliani used to dress as a woman all the time?
Yes.
For all of those reporter things.
Roast.
Oh my God, that would be
Oh,
so
can you
funny.
imagine him coming out?
Oh
Trumpvana. I have the best boobs. They're the greatest boobs that you ever saw. I'm the greatest transgender that you will ever meet. With the greatest boobs.
Oh,
That's
you're
big
absolutely right, Bob McKenna. Trump was a boxing and pro wrestling promoter. Trash talking is in his blood. Of course, it's in his blood. Yeah, nobody did their job when they were walking out with washing machines when George Floyd verdict. No, of course not. Hit the bell. Okay, hit the bell. Jen, you just made me faint. I mean, really, could you imagine if he was going to win the Miss USA pageant? Because
he had the first transgender in, now he'll be the second.
Oh my God, I can't. All right, well, listen. So Raskin doesn't like the Supreme Court's call. So therefore, Jamie Raskin is the most brilliant man in Congress, better than all 9 justices, and we should listen to him and not the Supreme Court. Right. So isn't that interesting?
I'm Trumpvanka.
Come on. I mean, I want to know, show of hands, how many people are now trying to picture Donald Trump as a girl?
They should really have him on SNL again.
Oh my God. They won't do it. They won't give him any time.
That's why the show sucks.
Well, speaking of Dr. Phil, here's an interesting commentary on DEI. I thought that this would be appropriate to talk about tonight.
DEI works anywhere. It has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work. The NBA and the NFL. Where are the Asian, Latino, and Hispanic basketball and football players? Where are the black guys in the National Hockey League? Those businesses are performance-based. It really comes down to, Dr. Phil, the issue of justice. And if you really want to go deep to the heart of this, and when I say that DEI treats the symptom but not the sickness, America is in a new civil war right now. The first civil war was the North versus the South. The new civil war is a war of ideologies concerning justice. And it's really going to come down to who gets to define what justice is, whether that's biblical justice or social justice. When moral law stands alone and DEI initiatives are based upon that, somebody gets to pretend that they are God.
We're in a war with ourselves.
A lot of people are inner wars with themselves. But
From Vanka.
I thought that was kind of a really good analogy. If it's going to work one place, it's got to work everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was a great video. Thanks, Deb. The problem is Democrats, liberals do not believe in accountability. They reward failure. Yeah, well, and people are starting to see it, and they're speaking out against it. All right. Okay, so you might have seen that Trump walked into the Lion's Den, the National Association of Black Journalists. Did you see that, Jen? Did you see the clips?
Unfortunately, yes. I did.
Okay. So I just thought that I would play the entire clip because I don't know what was clipped up out there. And I thought that what Trump
you did this
said
last week. Was I dreaming? I think you did. About what he said to be in the beginning. No, you know what? It was
that was
about it yesterday. Yesterday at a meeting that I had that conversation with someone about what he should have said.
Okay.
Instead of what he said.
Okay, well, here's what he said. I think the only thing I wouldn't have said was that ABC is fake news. Everything
no, and
else
I also wouldn't say the black jobs. They're taking away your jobs. But that was like, we know what he means, but the way it sounds is really bad. Like, so they're taking the lowest jobs which belong to the black people.
Well, I think that when he started with, the conversation was about what he does for black people. And so when you say he's taking your job, if you're going to isolate a group of people, Indians, Asians, blacks, Puerto Ricans, and you're talking to them, then you're going to say they're taking the Puerto Rican jobs.
Oh no! You have just your
or
jobs.
Your jobs,
not
or your
the
jobs.
black jobs,
or your
Mexican jobs. You'd be like, "What do you mean they're taking the lawn business?
The jobs from Mexicans. They're taking the jobs from
what
blacks.
are those
they're
jobs?
taking the jobs from whites.
Like Subway, there's
but of course,
Chinese,
as always, they can't make that happen. But watch how this all began. Watch.
Anchor of the Faulkner Focus and co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News, Harris Faulkner.
NABJ. Mic's on? Hear me? There we go. Test, test, test. Let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country. Including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered
black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who signed the
answer.
Voting Rights
And
Act?
for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
I love the 3 black people in the corner that loved him. That weren't afraid to clap.
They weren't afraid. Apparently there were quite a few people that were clapping, according to Harris. And there were catcalls too. But the fact is that he walked into the lion's den. He walked it, and what I didn't show you because I didn't want the clip to be longer than it was. Well, she started off saying that they were fact checking him in real time. Now, are they going to be fact checking Kamala when she's on? No.
I should have fact checked that whole speech that I just heard Waltz tell.
Yeah. It's double standard and it's ridiculous. But he had
Not
the balls
even that.
to go.
He calls everybody animals and retarded and this and that. It's not just. So why are you singling out? He's called whites. He's called Puerto Ricans. He's called Chinese. He called disabled people. Everybody equally gets abused by him. So
they equally get abused. They equally get praised, and they're going to do it for the sound bites. And this is what he's up against. The problem is Democrats,
and he has balls for going there. I got to tell you,
Yes,
those are balls of steel because that is something I would have stood away from, unless he truly thought in his brain that the black population does love him, which they do.
Those were journalists. So he knew going in that he was going to have a hard time, but he wasn't going to say no. He said yes, and he showed up. And then they kept him waiting for 35 minutes. And I showed at the beginning, the clip, the mics didn't work. If you saw, that's why I showed that little bit at the beginning, because after they introduced Harris, everything went down and she went testing. So they were having a dickens of a time. He couldn't hear. Nobody could hear. It was a terrible, terrible venue. But he did it. And I just figured I'd show you the rest of the story. I agree with him. She probably would have gotten more out of him had she started off in a much more gentle fashion. The other women, the other reporters who happened to be all black women, got much more out of him. Bruce Caitlyn Jenner was once an extraordinary, powerful male athlete. The decathlon is only for elite athletes. His transformation is historically phenomenal. Weird,
I believe so. No, I believe so too. I love Caitlyn Jenner. Don't get me. I said rough patch transitioning.
Yeah.
Rough patch. Gorgeous now. Well, big conservative.
It's like a young girl turning into a woman. They don't always
puberty.
look like.
Yeah. Looks fantastic now. Love her.
What did he really say wrong? Well, you tell me, Len. I don't think anything. I mean, I wouldn't have gone
the black jobs. That they're taking away the black jobs. They just said your jobs.
He did that.
Yeah, but you said, and you know what? He didn't hit home because it became a soundbite.
Yeah. Well, it was going to. Anything he said was going to become a soundbite. The progressive movement, like all progressive movements, is about gulags and concentration camps. Anyone who disagrees will suddenly disappear. Sounds very familiar to me. Indeed. This was an attempted hit job on Trump. Literally, they say it all. Who cares how he speaks at this point? Trump haters will not change as Trump supporters will not change. That's true. So there's people in the middle, and he's got to be careful to not send them over to Robert Kennedy.
Well, that's it. Now, if Robert Kennedy, when we're done here, can we talk about Robert Kennedy and his bear?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, not now.
Oh, yeah, the bear story.
With Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
And her outfit and her hair.
I thought she looked good.
No, she didn't. She looked very white polished.
Go ahead, tee it up. Say it. I don't have the video. I didn't clip it, but go
No,
ahead.
well, I'm sure you all know that Robert Kennedy Jr. in 2014, they found a dead bear cub in the park in the city. They didn't know, they couldn't trace it back to who it was, and it was him. And he went on the Roseanne Barr show to confess because one of the papers caught wind of it and were going to write about it. So he decided to tell it before it got out. And they can't do anything to him now because it's too far gone.
Well, what happened was somebody killed the bear.
They hit it. They hit it.
Yeah, they hit the bear, and he was going to take it. He put it in his trunk, and he was going to take it and take the meat. But then he had to be somewhere, and
started smelling.
Anyway, it wound up that the bear was in the trunk too long to harvest the meat, and so he thought that it would be funny. He also had a broken bicycle, and he thought it would be funny to put the bicycle in the dead bear in Central Park as if the bicycle killed the bear. I don't get the joke, but
yeah, well, it is because how would a bicycle kill a bear?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess, but it's a little disturbing when you see a dead bear in the park for somebody that doesn't hunt. Trump wasn't referring to service jobs when he said black jobs. It does sound antagonistic, even though it's accurate, true. You know, and that's the whole thing. I mean, for the jobs that the migrants are taking are jobs that are entry-level jobs. But they're also coming here. There are doctors who came over from Brazil who couldn't practice.
Oh, geez, stop it with that. They were vetted. They came here legally, and they're doctors and vets and this and that.
Oh,
These
no.
Are taking
Rosario, do you
jobs.
remember Rosario, my friend Rosario?
She was not an illegal.
She was a doctor who could not practice medicine in her country. So she came here. She came here and she was working in service positions because she couldn't practice in her country.
But I understand that. That I get. But these Venezuelan thugs, most of them, are gangs, and they're gang members, and they're taking jobs either, you know, with baby Matthews signs, or they're delivering food. They're on scooters that are illegal. They're not taking any kind of prestigious job whatsoever. And that's why it sounded so bad.
Okay, got it.
That's it. And then that's the only thing I'll say wrong about him. That made me cringe when he said it.
Yeah, that's because you live in New York.
That's not why.
you live in New York with a bunch of liberals. I don't see any difference in results comparing race-based politics and Nazism. Will the real superior race take a bow? Well, it's these now. Come on, it doesn't. The elites are not a color. The elites are, the color is green, and we idiots, no matter what our skin color is, are going to be struggling for our rights so long as the elites have control. As long as the news media and big tech and Hollywood are all together and in on this, we are screwed, because even with X, you can only do so much with X to get the information out. So we've got a real problem here. What's wrong with Kennedy's voice? He's paralyzed larynx. I see Susan Molinari, is going for Kamala. She turned to a Democrat. She's in Hollywood. What do you expect? He was spasmodic dysphonia. Okay, excellent. You knew the whole term. Even people went off over the word anchor baby. Yeah. Well, everybody's hypersensitive. Okay, so here's Byron Donalds giving some lip to George Stephanopoulos. Watch.
Repeated the slur again. If it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity? She's always identified as a black woman. She is biracial. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There are a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue.
Sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
Why do you insist on questioning her racial identity?
You want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
George, now that you're done yelling at me, let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for what, 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people? Or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe? Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain, and that's what matters more than anything else.
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George,
keep on
actually,
repeating
I'm not
it.
the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now. That's you.
You've done it,
I understand why
sir.
you
You've done it.
up.
You've done it
Because,
3 times. Every single answer
George,
you gave me. Now let me finish, sir.
George,
Every single answer you gave, you repeated the slur.
Asked me, George. That's why I'm pushing back on you now. George, you asked me the question 3 times. I responded, but I'm
and every
about
single
what
time you
truly
repeat
matters
the
in this
slur.
election.
That is exactly my point. You simply can't.
Is this real life?
That's
Is this
real life. That's real life.
Because he's asking him to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it, saying it doesn't matter. But he keeps saying he's talking about it, but he's repeating what he's saying. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, either your internet is freezing or mine. But he kept calling it a slur. So I just want to remind everybody what the news media had to say about Kamala Harris before she got the nomination. Watch.
There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president. Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where is the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working.
Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. That's it.
Don't do it, Jen. Don't do it. Don't do it, Jen. Don't do it. Well, and that is what the news media had to say about Kamala Harris before she became the darling of the news media. Do they think that this shit just disappears? I mean,
well, it does, because the internet takes it down.
Oh my God, I can't. All right, so let's look at some of the reasons that they said that about her. Watch.
Now, no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? It's no longer in a physical place.
All right, here's another one.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. So all of this is part of the work of this group of extraordinary leaders who will help inform and advise.
Wait, there's another one.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. and you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, we have a lot. We have a lot of comments. Noah Slur is telling George Stephanopoulos to go back to his uncle's diner and make cheeseburgers. That's a slur, indeed. What the stripper pole gave her a thumbs or some other appendage. I'm not sure what that means. Kamala is stoned. Yeah, this is why they're keeping Kamala in the basement, just like Biden. Trump will kill her in a debate. I'm telling you, it's going to be Walsh running the country. That's what the plan is. Disclaimer: please do not try that at home. Screw disclaimers. We're tough here. If you want to try that, that's on you. I hate the way she talks. Yeah, apparently so did the news media until they didn't. Ask Kamala how her endorsement of California Senator Leland Yee as a champion of gun control. Former Senator Lee is serving time for gun running. Yes, I remember that. They're all stuck in the clouds. Oh, very good. Coconut. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Coconut tree fell on Kamala. She's worse than having COVID. She is. Okay, I've got a couple more here. Oh, okay. So this is Jennifer sent me. I watched this young woman.
They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote. The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
And she worked in Chick-fil-A and met Donald Trump there and thanked him for saving her college.
Well, there you go.
That's how he met her, and that's why she was there.
Oh, there you go. All right. This happened today.
The Department of Homeland Security has temporarily suspended its mass parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans due to concerns about widespread fraud.
When they use the word fraud, they're talking about the financial sponsors. And I think what they're noticing is that there are certain people, or maybe one person, let's say as an example, sponsoring or saying that they'll be a financial sponsor for a lot of people. And financially, that's maybe not tenable.
The policy allows 30,000 people from these 4 countries to fly legally into the U.S. each month if sponsors agree to support them financially for up to 2 years. Up until June of this year, nearly 500,000 people from the 4 countries have flown into the U.S. since the program began in 2022, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. DHS says there haven't been security concerns identified with the nearly 500,000 people who have been admitted. The concern seems to be with how many people financial sponsors agree to support.
Sounds like maybe they're seeing a pattern where maybe there's 1 or 2 people that have maybe, several folks that they are trying to get here on the parole program, and they're reevaluating probably how they're going to process those kinds of cases.
Someone asked me the favor if I could sponsor that person. I explained that for me was not possible.
This woman, who asked that we conceal her identity for safety reasons, is originally from Venezuela, but has lived in the U.S. for nearly 25 years. She told us she's declined to be a sponsor because she understands the financial responsibility that comes with it.
If I am going to...
Number 1, Tammy Lynn, put your bed couch away and make it. You're on TV. Your couch bed is undone and the dog is on it licking itself. So, Tammy Lee, you fail. Number 2, this is the new way of getting vetted, so everyone just get over it.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't 1 or 2 people sponsoring. It was 1 person sponsoring 1,000 people.
It was Mateus's supporters who has cancer. That little kid.
Yeah, well, it was one person. 500,000 people came in from those 4 countries since June, right? June, when Biden signed that or maybe it was February.
And they flew first class.
But 1 person sponsored 1,000, and that happened hundreds of times. So that tells me that there's a ring going on, some sort of fraudulent
George Soros?
Yeah, really, exactly. So what the hell are we doing here? This is crazy. Boss lady. Jen, from now until election day, you need your stop sign. Yeah, Jen. Where's your stop sign? Our national security is a big issue. Yeah, indeed. Okay. Do you remember Peter Sellers as Chancellor Gardner from the movie Being There? Yeah. He made no sense, but was loved and accepted by all. Yeah, Martin, you're right on the money. Circumstance made him famous, not his brains or his skill set. And that's what they're depending on with her. And listen to what's going on with the young people in this country. This happened last week.
The mighty, mighty immigrants.
Do you think illegal immigrants should be able to vote?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're paying taxes and you're putting money into the economy for a country that you've lived at for over a decade, yes, I think you should have a voice in the people that are making rules on your life.
You kick us out, you better get a seat right next to us and buckle up. Because it's all of us or none of us.
Do you think illegal immigrants should be able to vote in this next election?
I do. They live in this country. They have a purpose being here. And every vote should count. Everybody should be able to have a place to speak, whether your documentation status. That shouldn't be affected because you're living in this country. So that's going to affect you whether you have documentation or not.
It's not legal for an illegal person to vote.
We know that the Constitution says only citizens can vote, and so everyone should have the opportunity to have a path to citizenship.
Why do you think they deserve those citizen rights?
Because they're human. We're all humans, and it's a basic human right. So, yeah.
So we had these protests here today, and it was all about immigration and citizens' rights. What do you think? A lot of people want to let them vote in the next election. Do you think they should be able to vote?
It should be open to interpretation. I think some people should be able to vote. I don't think you necessarily need to be a legal citizen.
I feel like everyone. I want them all to go to Mexico and try and vote.
Or Venezuela, where Maduro Maduro, now here's the thing. There's this whole debate about whether or not Kamala was the border czar, right? And she said she was put there to address the root causes. Well, she didn't say it because she hasn't said anything
She is the root
except for
cause.
that Donald Trump's a criminal. The press has said she was put there to address the root causes of immigration. Okay,
She's the root
so
cause.
how come Nicolas Maduro just stole another election? If she was put in place to address those root causes, she did a piss poor job of it. So whether she's the czar or root causes, either way, she screwed up because we still have mass migration to America.
Because the only reason they wanted them is to vote for them.
Oh, exactly. And the young people are agreeing. Those, by the way, I think those were the same young people that are at the rally right now.
And they don't pay taxes, darling. They're not legal. If you're illegal, you're not paying taxes. You can't work unless you have a
well,
green
they say they
card
pay taxes through consumption by buying things, their money that they're getting off the
on
books.
their money that they paid for. So you paid taxes as an American citizen. You paid taxes so that your money that you paid in taxes can go to them for free so that they could buy food. So you just bought them food.
Absolutely. And that's why that fraud with the DHS from the 4 countries for the 500,000 people is a problem, because they came here with supposedly sponsors, because that's how it's supposed to be. You have somebody taking responsibility for you, so you're not getting the government dollars. But that's not what the Biden administration wanted. The Biden administration was looking for a loophole to get them in. So they organized one sponsor for 1,000 people to get them in, give them food stamps, give them welfare, give them Medicare, give them Social Security, give them everything
sponsors
on our back. So the American people are sponsoring them. This is insane. The comedian George Carlin was way before his time. Listen to his clips. Absolutely.
He's my favorite comedian ever.
But that's how long this has been going on. We have been asleep at the wheel. We just kept getting dumber. We were looking for, it's amazing to me that Americans have everything. We have everything, which means we have too much time on our hands. And what do we do with that time? With that time, we make our brains into putty. We play on the phone, on the computer. We spend years in college studying women's studies and basket weaving. We make our kids dumber. We make ourselves dumber. And we are the most unhappy people anywhere. I mean, isn't it insane that these people are braving they're death-defying to get to this country, and we who live here are unhappy with our lives. It's I can't.
Well, don't get me started with that. They come here for other reasons. There was a mother that was raising money because her children from Venezuela didn't like the food that they were being served here for free. So she was trying to raise money with street signs because her children weren't being fed well. So, enough.
Well,
everybody.
There's plenty of entitled people, coming here thinking, oh, well, I was told, if I came here, I was going to get everything. And it's on our backs. So how come when these illegals go to the hospital, they get everything for free? It's because exactly that.
Because they don't know who they are. They can't bill them. They don't know who they are. They don't have social security numbers.
They can't turn anybody away.
You can't turn them down, and they can't bill them because they don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's correct. They're not making a living. They're being supported by us. My parents were sponsored and had to sign pledges. Yeah, so did my father. I mean, they all had to have sponsors.
You had to be vetted. If you came here with a cough, you were sent back. You had to redo the whole process.
That's right. That's right. And you appreciated everything that you got being
and they never
here.
They never took from the government.
Never took from the government. The illegal are here, Democrat.
And they learned English.
Absolutely. Those who came here for the right reasons.
You didn't have Italian in your house. Well, your grandmother did, but
but my grandfather didn't want us to speak Italian. I mean, so this is what's going on today. Think about that. We went over. I promised Jen I'd let her go.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It doesn't
okay, then I have 2 more short ones. Okay, here is Kamala talking about Christmas.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
right. Here's Kamala taking credit for paying for trans surgery in jail in California.
That they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need.
For prisoners, Brad, top priority?
No, I mean, this is not a good way to be using taxpayer dollars. It's really quite something to be pushing that. I mean, look, I believe America's a free country. Adults should do whatever they want. But ultimately, if you want those kinds of surgeries, you should pay for it yourself. You shouldn't force it onto taxpayers, especially not if you're literally behind bars because you've committed transgressions against society. The idea that
And there you have it. So Kamala's honeymoon, how long will it last? Will the press continue to give her a pass?
This guy is going to take the spotlight.
Yeah.
Mr. Drummond is going to take over, but she'll be in the back.
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
So bad.
If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with.
There should be like a driving test for voting. Like, you can't vote if you're retarded. You just can't.
You can't. There is a test for voting. It's called being an American citizen. Period. End of story. That's your test for voting. And, if the Christians get out to vote, and if the 2A people get out to vote, and if the regular people who are exhausted from paying taxes for all of these trans in jail, illegal migrants, all these ridiculous programs that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden passed, the Green New Deal, the Build Back Better, and what's the other one the infrastructure bill, all of which have paid money to nonprofits to do other things, including bring immigrants to the country. If everybody just knows, then maybe they'll vote in their own interest.
I beat an old woman to death and I'm behind bars, but I want a penis. So
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas. Kamala will make sure Americans will never even have a Christmas. Bottom line, she is a joke. Well, somebody's got to ask her some questions so that they remember. Len, I just told you what I think happened to our country. We all have our head in our iPhone, and that has to stop. I have multi-personalities. Can they all vote? Why not? The Democrats do it all the time. I have dead people. Maybe they can vote. I feel sorry for these ladies who trained all these years only to fight a guy. They did last week. We talked about the whole campaign, the weird campaign, that JD Vance was just weird, that Donald Trump was just weird.
Meanwhile, he called them creeps today.
Good.
With Waltz. Yeah. No, Waltz called.
Waltz
said
called,
they're creepy. Yeah, he called them creepy.
Yeah, they're testing.
Imagine if they did that.
They're testing. Well, they're testing everything out. If you see a post that says that they're creeps or they're weird, make sure you post a picture of
report it. See if it gets taken down.
Report it. Yeah. Well, I guess it probably won't.
And it won't.
It won't. Hey! How about that Olympic boxer that beat the shit out of the girl? He was a man. She is a man. She is a man. Well, here's the thing. They're saying her mother, father, herself, as saying that she's a female, and they showed all the documents to prove it. Not any blood tests, not any DNA, but documents. So,
AI,
and
the hell of a job.
And the press is buying it. They're not even questioning it. Here's our problem: the press has become a state-run press. And the state is the Democratic.
When you take a saliva test, you can tell the H or the L with the female and the male. You can tell you are in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. But as the Olympics commissioner said, we don't want to start DNA testing our athletes.
But they'll drug test baseball players.
Right.
For steroids.
Yeah.
or for a supplement that they.
Well, they can drug test for the Olympians too for steroids, but they're not going to. It's just like we don't want voter ID, but we want to.
So wait, so you can't be on steroids to be in the Olympics, but you could be a man and beat a girl up.
Right.
So natural steroids.
It's not supposed to make sense. It's like a woman has to have complete control of her body, except if we're going to shoot you up with COVID vaccines or any vaccines that the government demands. The government should have no say in your health care unless we decide that the government should have.
And then take your job from you. And take your job.
Yeah, exactly. Take your job is right. Paper lies. Yes, indeed. So why the hell did she stand up at a urinal? I don't know. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true. That sure looked like a man to me. Is all I know is I want a girl to beat his ass. That's
what happened. I've seen it in other. Yeah, it's happened.
Well, he's lost. He's lost 9 fights. He's lost 9 fights, and to women. So. Parents who train for training all these years should be able to sue for all the money they paid. Yeah, I agreed. I mean, even the Olympics is not safe anymore. Government scumbags. Yeah, exactly. We are guinea pigs for Big Pharma. Absolutely.
We always have been.
We have.
This is the first time they just didn't test it on rats. They tested everything on us first.
Yep.
Which is a new one.
And certain libs were standing there. Please, sir, please.
Have another.
Give me a shot. Give me time. Yeah. So
a little Oliver Twist of COVID shots.
Yeah. So let's see what happens to them because lots of things are coming out about that. But listen, we've always been guinea pigs for Big Pharma, as Jen has said. And frankly, I've seen the cures kill many times, and it's never 100%. But as long as we make it so that you can't sue these companies, then we're still going to be at it. So now I've decided I'm taking nothing. I'm taking nothing unless I know exactly what it is.
And you won't even know what it really is.
Well, it's true. It's true. So I recently had to go for an echocardiogram, a stress test, and they wanted to give me some sort of medication to make my heart race. And I said, no, thank you. I'll do the treadmill.
No, thank you. I'll do cocaine. I'll be back.
Shit, I didn't think about that. That would have been so much better.
I'll be back.
Oh, man, this damn aneurysm, this thing in my head is making me slow down.
Sharper.
Yeah, I got to get sharper. All right. Oh, everybody wants to know what your shirt says.
Dave Ferris.
Okay, guys.
Meanwhile, I watched it with my other half. He said it was the worst movie ever.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
I don't know how we're compatible in life. I guess because he's older. It's nostalgic for me because I was born in
I
the
thought
80s.
It was hysterical.
One of the best movies ever.
I love that movie, and I love Something About Mary. I think that's
hysterical. I'm like, but I'm a big Ferris Bueller's
and True Lies. I love. I think that's a great movie. Polio vaccines were enforced because it worked. Yeah. Don't trust.
You only know it works if you have testing and you have groups. And we got rid of our groups.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, Ferris. All right. So I'm watching Designated. What is it called? Oh my God. The Designated Survivor on Netflix. I would suggest if you want to watch it, watch season 1. Season 2 becomes very repetitive, but here's the premise of the show. Every time there's a State of the Union address, there's one designated survivor that's left behind, member of the president's cabinet, in case something happens to
it's like The Bachelor.
No. What happens is that somebody blows up the Capitol and kills everybody in the Capitol. All the Supreme Court judges, the whole entire cabinet, the whole military, all the Congress, all of the Senate, the president, the vice president, because they're all in the Capitol, right? So it gets blown up and they all die. And the designated survivor is this one guy who the president actually fired that morning. And but he was made the designated survivor, so he becomes the president, and it's kind of interesting, and it's that I think it was well done.
How much pot do you smoke down there, Letitia?
No, it was actually well done. Because he has to now he's got to fill the cabinet. He's got to talk with all the governors to get them to appoint senators to hold the special elections for Congress. The governors don't want to accept him as the president. There's almost a civil war because the states are now claiming that they're sovereign. And so they don't want to participate in the federal government anymore. So it becomes like, what would happen if the center of government just evaporated? I mean,
so he's like the Joe Biden of life. No one wants anything to do with him. They all want him gone. Want to talk to him. He likes ice cream.
I'm not on the pot. Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland is the designated survivor. He's an independent, and the president was a Democrat. And he actually gets help from former president, a Republican. It's kind of really interesting. And the only what happened was the Republicans chose their own designated survivor, so they chose a congresswoman who winds up helping him and trying to put the government back together. And a very interesting show. But like I said, season 1 was pretty good. Season 2 is a little repetitive and outrageous, but
I'm going to watch Schitt's Creek again for the 4th time. The whole season.
That's good. The Supreme Court needs to visit the Natural Born Citizens Clause once again.
Yeah.
To remove it? I hope not. For the president?
No. Wait.
Natural Born Citizens Clause.
You have to be a natural born citizen.
Yes. Yeah, and you have to be 36 years old to serve, or 35.
Now it's going to be like 12. Watch. She's going to get in. They're going to make it 12. You could be 12 and...
Oh, yes. I was going to watch that too, Your Honor. To enforce it. Well, they can't just, revisit it. They have to have a case. The Supreme Court just doesn't decide to make legislation. They influence.
Well, when he reassigns the Supreme Court Justice Biden before he leaves, I'm sure they'll be able to. So don't worry.
Well, he can't. It's a matter of the Constitution.
Anyone can do anything they want when they're higher power. I keep telling you this. If you're the highest
No. Well, you know what?
Nobody does anything. Nobody here has done anything. What have we done to stop anything? Nothing. We've done nothing.
That's right. Yeah,
so you can do
it
whatever
worked
you want.
for January 6th. They cowed everybody, and nobody
still
has
in jail. Right? They're going to be in jail as long as the 9/11, the bombers and the airplane flyers. Please, they have the power.
You're right. You're right.
As long as you guys
long
be
as
the
they
big
have
P,
Hollywood,
you're going to be the big P.
Yep.
Everything's going to
go
go away.
As they have Hollywood and the news media, they have everything. Still watching Gilligan's Island. Yeah, it's on here in the morning. What a stupid show. I realized that they must have been on
Excuse you.
What?
Best show. Best show.
That show?
I don't think they wanted to leave. Would you want to leave an island with the professor there? I wouldn't.
Why did they have all those clothes? They were on a 3-hour tour.
No, they didn't have all the clothes. They wore the same clothes. The Howells had all those clothes because they were rich.
No. Marianne, Ginger, the professor, Gilligan, and
they made their clothes at a table. They made their clothes at a tablecloth.
Where did they get tablecloths from?
The skipper, captain. They always wore the same.
Skipper, Gilligan,
and professor.
Right, but the girls
and
the Howells,
the gingham or plaid, whatever it is, same stuff. It was probably tablecloths from the tables.
Absolutely no way. Ginger she was wearing an evening gown on a 3-hour
Mrs. Howell, Mr. Howell lent it to her.
Oh my God.
Modern day.
Oh my God.
Thurston. What is that?
Well, I mean, I never got it. I never understood it. Lovey had all her jewelry.
And nobody had sex. The whole time, nobody had sex.
Nobody had sex. And the thing I couldn't understand is people kept coming and going on the island, coming and going.
Well, you know
but
what?
they couldn't
Basically,
figure out how
that
to.
would be Kamala and Biden if they were on an island trapped. That's exactly what would happen. If all the Democrats were on an island, they would build things to get radio signals out, and they would keep coming and almost get killed, and they'd be guys with spears, but they'd still live and never get off the island. And basically, the next town is probably like 3 feet over.
And they never move from that side of the island. Did you notice? How big is this island? I can't.
There's a 5-star hotel next to them. They could have just walked over a few logs.
I mean, especially when that guy wrong way, got to them, and he came back. He found them again, second time. They still couldn't get off the island.
That's how I feel about life.
Telephones.
That's how I feel about this country. That's it. We've sunk. We're stuck. Good luck. Good night.
The United States is going good island. On that note, goodbye, everybody. See you next Tuesday. The